folks, Modman here and welcome back to the workshop. Today's episode I'm going to take this old dual trim brush here and take off this broom handle section here and fit this fella here. Now what this fella is this is a swivel action handle that Herman, the window cleaner bloke, has created. What he's got here, he's got the Euro thread here, which can also be fitted to the Acme thread as well. It works on both. And you've got a little press button here. So once this is on the pole, it can be taken on and off quite simply. It's a square section, so there's no turning here. It may still turn here on the pole. So, you know, whenever that happens, you just put a screw in it. There you go. So I'm going to be doing that. Now, however, if you do want to keep this section on, you can also get a wagtail adapter right here. I think it's called the Orbit, wagtail Orbit, which literally just screws straight over the top of that section there. So you can still use that as a pivoting brush head handle. Alright, but today we're going to cut this off and we're going to fit that. Alright, let's get into it.
Put block in device, cut off handle section, file down nice and flat, mark the centre of block, mark centre of disc, marry them both together, mark the hole points.
What I'm going to use in this instance is a decent sized tech screw. It's quite a wide diameter, so it's going to have a decent grip on the plastic. The plastic itself on this particular brush head is a good 15 millimeters thick. So in this case, I have enough meat there for this screw to grip onto. Once I've drilled it through, I'll then measure the thickness there and then cut this off so I don't have anything protruding out through the brush side of the head. Alright, so there's the basics of it. Okay, it's on. It's got the swinging action here, the rotating action here. It's also got the pivot here. Sorry, the push button here. Now what I'll do is I'll go through and I'll trim those sharp bits off. Okay, so what I've ended up doing here is pulling the bristles aside, taking the narrow edge of a flat metal file, and basically filing that screw down. It actually works quite alright. Okay, so I'm now going to plumb it up. So I've literally got in my old box of jet fittings, literally got 4 of these. So I'm going to go from, now if you want to go from high flow, you want to have the 10mm to the 8mm into the 8mm junction, and then through with your rhino tube through to a Y fitting here, Y splitter, and then 2 jets there. I'm using 2 jets per side because I've got the holes here, and plumb it down the same way here. These particular ones have screw jets in, so I'll just literally screw all 4 of these in and we're done. Okay, we'll just plumb this up, put the Y splitter on there and there, pushed in nice and deep, both sides. Okay, him on there, this one on here, and we're pretty well set to fit it onto the pole. Okay, so if you want to run a rinse bar, and you have one available from an old brush, you can sit it across the front here. This is a Hydro blade, and plumb it up from either side, so that sits up like this. You could fix it to the front of the brush here and plumb it into both sides, and you could literally have a rinse bar over the top on that also. I've got enough rinse bar brushes, so I'm just going to make this up as a 4 jet pencil jet brush, this particular one. Okay folks, now to the description of the handle itself. On the disc here you'll see that it's a 4mm plastic plate, bent to approximately 65 degrees, and with a flat base at the bottom here to be fixed to whatever the head of your choice. On the top of the disc here, it's fitted with a pop rivet and then a decent sized washer to stop the pull through. The other side where the pop rivet comes through is used a square nut. Use that as a washer to stop the pull through there. On the square section here, the head of the square section is heated and squashed and manipulated to make that flat section, which then joins to the disc. There's nothing in between the flat section and the disc for ease of movement. It is actually quite tight, but I'm assuming that will wear out. Now, with the wear out, because this is a pop rivet, it doesn't look as though there's any adjustment. So I'm not too sure about that part of it. However, it is quite neat, quite easily made, simple design. Then you come to the square section, you have the push button here, and out it comes. This has a spring type loaded button in there, and you know, depending on where this sits on your pole, it doesn't matter because there's 4 holes either side, and it can either go in direct or it can come to the side or to the bottom, doesn't matter. Then that pushes in, pops back in. I don't know if I'm a great fan of these push buttons because, you know, if you've got cold fingers or you've got gloves on, can be a little bit hard to manipulate at times, but it is a simple system. Just pop on, pop off. In the end there is the thread to go onto the pole. Okay, so I'll give you a quick rundown on how I'm going to fit the brush head to my tools. Now I only have wagtail tools and reach it tools, okay, so I can't show you any other tool how it's going to fit, any other adapter, because I simply don't have them. I need to have one of those, run with it for a few months so I can learn about it and try it out, and then I can give you an opinion. So the first one here is the reach it pole tip adapter. Okay, now this one here has the Acme thread on the top, and it has the little batten here which sits into the reach it pole. Okay, simply goes in like that, clicks in, and you have a pole tip. Then the Hermans square adapter here screws onto that, and then his brush head clicks onto that. Alright, that's number one. And you can leave this on, take it on and off, whatever you like to do. Number two is, let's take that off of the reach it pole. Well, let's just stay with reach it for 1 second here, because you can also, let's say you want to get an angle on that, you can take the heavy duty gooseneck pack, which has the batten and also has the Acme thread, that also goes into the reach it pole, and you can then also screw on to the heavy duty gooseneck, the Hermans section. You want to make sure you've got that straight because this won't move, and then you can pop the Herman one on top of that, and now you have a gooseneck, alright, to suit if you've got an overhang, etc, etc. Okay, so that's the reach it. Now let's have a look at wagtail. No, sorry, not wagtail. The other way of fitting it is with the Unger. I use Unger tips for all my gear, so that also has the Acme thread on the end there, so that also screws straight into that, and you can fit it to your pole like that. The reason I say the only I only use wagtail and reach it because wagtail, I can fit wagtail to any of the Unga tips. Okay, so my gear is wagtail and reach it, so that's all I can show you. It's all I can demonstrate because that's all I have. Okay, so there you go. I'll do some field work with it now and give you a rundown on that. Okay, we're just using the new brush here at this job here. This brush works quite well for this particular job because it's got a nice soft bristle on it. Also got the Richard Kinket on here, so if you don't want to, so you can just cut your water off. We've got the 4 jets running through this brush. Turning the pole gives you the swivel up into the corner. It's not too bad. This setup here, I'll be using the reach it pole tip adapter with the whack adapter into the reach it trad 4, and then up to the Hermans Handle up here, and then onto a trim fit dual trim brush with 4 jets coming out. This particular brush, because of the bristles, works quite well on this sort of stuff. As you can see, the bristles get into the corners quite nicely. It's nice and soft to run over the timber. Okay, the verdict on the Hermans Handle. Now, I've given it a good run. I've used it on lower stuff, I've used it on higher stuff. I put a couple of videos up previous, but I used it for a good couple of days. Now, the verdict for the handle is, I'm going to put it in the average container. Okay, it's not great, it's not fantastic, but it's not poor. All right, I'm going to call it average. It's well made and it's simple. Okay, however, it doesn't do anything that any other handle doesn't do. Okay, and I'm going to put it in the average bucket because it simply has no adjustment. It has no adjustment on this part, the pivot. So at the moment it's very stiff. I'd like to loosen that up a little bit, but the only way I'm going to loosen it is to literally keep turning it or cut that little bit there, which I did do a little bit of. I did cut that a bit to try and loosen it up. However, if I loosen it too much, I'm not going to be able to tighten it back up. If you get my drift. I like to have it at my tension. That is why I put this below the wagtail orbit. I actually prefer the wagtail orbit. If you have one of these brushes and you have the little bit here, the broom handle bit, you can do one of two things. You can cut it off and you can fit a Hermans handle. It's completely your decision. Or you can leave it on and you can fit a wagtail orbit. I prefer the wagtail orbit. I can adjust the tension of this swivel if I want it tight, if I want it loose. If it does loosen up on me over time, I can tighten it. It fits all my poles, whether it's trad or water fed. Okay, so this is personal opinion. Be aware of that. It's personal opinion, but at the same time I'm showing you the pros and cons. Okay, so the verdict for the Hermans handle is in the average pile. I like it. I like how simple it is. I like that it's an easy on-off. Again, I don't have this set up on my gear, so for me this setup is a bit of a pain because I've then got to add this so that I can add that. I need to add this to add that, if you know what I mean. So for me this is annoying. And look, the main part is no adjustment here, and it simply doesn't do what any other brush doesn't do. It's pretty much the same of the same. However, if you do have one of these old style brushes and you do want to fit a handle to it, this is probably the perfect handle to do it with. Yeah, I would say if you've got one of these with a flat flat face on it, the Herman handle would be ideal for that. Alright folks, so there you go. There's my verdict on the Herman handle. I like it. I like how simple it is. It's strongly made. What I don't like is there's no adjustment, and it's only designed to fit that square lock or an Acme thread type system. Alright, I hope that helps you guys, and this is Modman. Give that a go. Alright.